Hey, everybody. Welcome to John D Podcast. I'm your host, John D. Miller. Welcome to episode number 61, everybody. Number 61, numero 61 in the old Espanol language. That's right. 1089, going on 1090 days now as I am recording this intro. Days of no booze. No booze. Yeah, no booze. Yeah. How are yous? How are yous? How are y'alls? That's right. I say intro because I have a very interesting episode for you this evening, day, night, wherever you are. Walking the dog, waiting for the test results from the doctor. I don't know, but it's a really cool thing. I was joined in the studio the other day by none other than one of my new comedy friends, a local guy that I've seen around here in the RVA comedy scene. Comedian Patrick Logan was here the other day, and it was a really good talk, a very good conversation. It actually got a little more in-depth than I thought it would. You know, I'd never sat and talked with Patrick before. Not like this. You know, we've had conversations here and there outside of, you know, shows that we've done, stuff like that. And some talking back and forth through phone texts and, you know, whatever. But not like this. And it was cool. And I learned a lot about the guy. Learned about how he uses his life experiences in not just comedy, but how he lives his life nowadays. You know, and also, you know, kind of what he plans to do with himself. It was a good talk. It was very cool. And he got to come over. He got to meet the wife and the kid. And it was fun. It was very nice. I do warn you that my chair was a little creaky. And when I was recording this, I'm using two mics in this room. We've taken some of the stuff out of the room, so there's a little more airiness to it. But other than that, it was really good. It was good. It was, you know, just a couple guys. It was nice to sit and talk about comedy like that. We kind of tried to go into some other stuff, but, you know, it just kind of kept coming back to that one main theme. And it was awesome. It's always nice to hang out and talk shop with somebody who knows what it's like to try to go up on a stage and make people laugh, to evoke that one emotion out of people. And we talked about how you do it and where you go for it and a lot of in between. Real quick before we get to it, though, don't forget, follow me on social media. John D Podcast and John D Comedy on Twitter, X, whatever. John D Podcast on Facebook. JonDpodcom on Instagram and Threads. And don't forget, you can support the show through the official listener support app, Venmo, at JonDpodcom. I think that's about it. I think that's all I need to say. It starts off, we're kind of just talking. And that's what it ends up being pretty much the whole time. So I had a good time. It was fun. So with that being said, hang out and enjoy episode 61 of John D Podcast with comedian Patrick Logan.
I'm more worried about getting canceled than my mom getting mad at me or my job firing me.
Well, that is on recording.
Yeah,
right now.
I know.
I just started recording that.
We can talk about whatever.
So
man.
literally, it cuts in with you going, I am more worried about getting canceled than your mom
as long as I don't
getting
say
angry.
something that, you know, as long as I don't say any bad words, we're good. There's only 2 words that I think are bad, so I don't think they're no.
What words do you think are bad, Patrick?
That I'm not allowed to say. We all know them, you know. You tell me, what words do you think they are?
I'm not gonna say them, but yeah, I mean, there are definitely words that, like, I can't believe people say in general.
In general?
So, like, for instance, we were talking, you know, like the N-word,
Okay.
right? I don't know, like, I know what the societal background and stuff like that has and the history and everything. I know all about that. But I just don't, like, every time I hear it, like, anytime I hear somebody that's not a black person say that word, I literally, there's something in my brain that goes, I can't believe that somebody just said that. Like, I don't know where they get it in their mind that they think that they're allowed to say it. And it could be just the way that I grew up. I mean, I grew up in the city. I went to Richmond Public Schools when I was a kid. So, yeah, I've never understood that. But, the other words, I don't know what the other, well, like, there's like the C word, right?
Right.
But see, if you go to England, it's like calling a woman a bitch, basically.
It's like a term of endearment. In
It
England,
can be.
maybe.
It can be. I used to know a British guy. He would say it all the time.
Yeah.
And he worked for like the British. It wasn't the British Secret Service. Jeez, no, he wasn't that good. But yeah, he was in like the British. He worked at the British Embassy
Okay.
or something like that. Yeah. Well, he's a friend of a friend. But yeah, he was a wild dude. So, anyways, welcome to the podcast, Patrick Logan. How are you, man?
That was a great way to get it started. Oh my gosh, I'm great.
I'm
happy to be here. At least I know what we're in for today.
You
Patrick
don't know
Logan.
necessarily what we're in for, Patrick.
I don't.
Yeah. You seem like a cool dude. You said you want to come on. I keep telling people on here I'm going to have guests on the podcast. And one of the first comics I met when I got back into doing comedy was Patrick, and he said, "Hey man, I'm free on Saturday." And what's today? The 10th, February 10th. And he said, "I'm free on Saturday. I'm going to come over." I said, "Cool, come hang out in my little stoofus, and we're going to hang out." But Patrick, tell everybody where you're from.
Originally from Smithfield, Virginia, a small town. Then I moved to Prince George, Virginia, a smaller town, and now live in Hopewell in an apartment.
In an apartment. Well, you are a single lad.
Yes, sir.
A lot of single people live in apartments.
Yep.
A lot of families live in apartments. Don't get me wrong, but you're one of the first comics, as I said, that I met when I first got back into doing comedy. And one of the things I like about you is you definitely have you had something about you that a lot of the comics I see. I mean, I always sit here on the podcast and I talk about how stand up is alive and well in the Richmond area, and it is. And you're one of the guys and one of the comics that I look at when I watch anywhere I've gone, and I'm like, okay, this kid, you got a little something to you, man. You really do. What was funny to you growing up?
Well, I appreciate that. I was watching Comic View as a kid, as far back as I can remember. Just Comic View on BET. I don't even know if I understood what they were talking about, but I loved seeing people talk and make people laugh. And yeah, that's what I grew up on. And then as I got into teenage years, Chappelle Show, of course.
Right.
What else did I watch? Yeah, mostly Comic View, Chappelle Show. Always been a goofball, and surprised it didn't start sooner. Really.
Yeah. What was? Let me ask you this: what was growing up for you? Did you find the comedy was a part of an escape, or was it something that was just an added benefit onto life? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I've always been the guy that is making the rude. Not rude, but inappropriate remarks. Like, it always felt good, like being the person that's like saying something that shouldn't be said in this place, the dinner table, church, right. Church groups and stuff. Like, always making people laugh. And then I do remember one part in my life I was very depressed, and I would just listen to stand up on Pandora, where like switches a comic every 5 minutes, and just like. Yeah, so when I'm sad, just listen to other people. And sometimes you hear people talk about their problems and make it funny. It's like, hey, man, you can just laugh if nothing else.
Yeah, this is true.
So kind of an escape, too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did, too. Like, who was the first comic? Like, I know I saw the interview with you in RVA Magazine, and you were talking about Cat Williams. Right. Is that correct? Or was that the interviewer that did it?
Yep. Cat Williams. I forgot how they brought it up, but yeah, Cat Williams was one of my favorites. Really, when I first started, like Arnez J. When I first started watching Comic View, I remember Arnez J.
Yeah, I love Arnez.
Bruce, just the host, like would always draw me in, and then those were the people I saw every show.
Sure.
So every show I would see Bruce or Arnez J. And so that's who I got familiar with fast, and then it's pretty cool. Tony Woods. I remember him as a kid, and that's one of the first comics I actually met. But a big fan of like Chris Rock, of course Chappelle. Yeah, man. But I love it all, man. Love all different types of comedy.
Right. Which, by the way, any question that I ask you, I always tell people that I interview on the podcast, there's not a question that I ask you that you can't turn around and reverse back on me. Yeah, and I've had people do it in the past. Well, what would you? So
right,
I'm just saying.
Who was yours biggest influence or favorite?
I didn't think you were going to start right away. For me, it's it's a funny sort of story. That when I got into stand up, it was like a rainy afternoon. My mom had these old Bill Cosby records, and she sat me down one day in my room with a record player, and I think it was Bill Cosby's "Why Is There Air," and I listened to it, and I just fell in love with the jokes were funny, obviously, but the laughter and stuff like that. That was the first comic I ever listened to. But as I got older, it was like Robin Williams and Howie Mandel and Carlin and Pryor and guys like that. And I used to lie in bed and listen to my Walkman at night. And it wasn't music. It would be like Robin Williams live at the Met, like like stuff like that. But yeah, Cosby. And I tell people that, and they look at me weird. And I'm like, it was before all the bad shit. Right. I mean, the bad shit was happening.
Right.
We just didn't know it was at the time. So yeah, so that was mine. So, but everybody's got to have one, and it wasn't really my deal.
Right. It's part of your life.
Well, it's not even necessarily. I guess
Cosby was a part of your life. Everybody. Dude, part of everybody's life.
When I was a kid, dude, I fucking loved Cosby. Like he was like a second dad to me, and I'm very close to my dad. My dad's a great guy. Nothing against him. But I literally I'd watch Cosby Show every Thursday, like you know what I mean, and I love Cos. Like he was one of my dreams was I want to meet Cos, and then so like when all that stuff came out, dude, holy shit.
Yeah, I bet that hurt. I've experienced that with like musicians. It sucks.
Yeah, who?
Bass Nectar. I love Bass Nectar. You probably might not have ever heard of them.
No, but go ahead.
Yeah, just a bass music, legendary shows, community, and yeah, he went through some stuff like that, and it sucks. It's like your favorite thing ever, and then it's like, but
it does suck. Like I won't even say the guy's name, but there was one time I got to work the DC Improv. When I lived up there, I worked at DC Improv with a guy who was a headliner. He was definitely up there as far as my respect level went. The guy, I worked a week with him. He was an asshole to the feature, the middle act, for doing any crowd work whatsoever. And basically the guy was just dealing with a heckler anyways. And then after the show, he's being a total creep. And it was like it just ruined it. It just ruined it. So, I mean, I've definitely seen that. And it's one of those things where you don't sit there and question, is anything real anymore? But at the same time, I don't know. It almost puts like a little reality check on your soul of who can I look up to?
Right.
That's not going to be a complete douchebag.
You're right. I was thinking that.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, all right. So you've been doing comedy for less than 2 years, right? So right a little less?
Right. May 1st will be 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. Do you like it so far?
I love it, man. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. Like you feel good about what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's what I was meant to do, and sometimes I think I got in too late, but I think I'm finally to the level of maturity that I can do this and give it my all, and I always wasn't, and I'm still not extremely mature, but very mature as in like know what not to say, how not to treat people, and can really put my thoughts together and have fun, man. I spent a long time rapping.
I did. I saw that. Not just, I guess it was not just your bio on social, but it was something else I saw. Maybe I saw you doing a joke about it or something.
Yeah, I've got a joke about it. Yeah.
What was your rapping like? You gotta.
Oh, really, man? I'm probably the best rapper I've ever met. Yeah, man. I'm talented, man. Like just like the New York style,
too.
Boom bap, yeah. Well, rap you don't have to be as humble. Like comedy, I feel like I should be humble, like
sure.
But rap, not being humble is part of it. And but yeah, man, like New York style boom bap.
All right, hold on, wait. New York style boom bap.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Dr.
Have you ever heard it? Have you ever listened to rap, John?
I've listened.
I'm not fucking with you.
I was listening to rap long before. I mean, all right, let me ask you this. How old are your parents?
60 at least.
Okay.
The 62. So my mom's 62.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm 50, right? So, I mean, I was listening to like
the first rap. ever.
The first rap ever. The very first one. It came out. Noah had it. Noah came down. He was like,
Right.
y'all listen ups.
Yeah, Ezekiel. I don't know why I feel like that's a Ezekiel.
That's a good rap
That's the
name.
first rapper.
That'd be an awesome. I'm Ezekiel, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was listening to rap. Okay, so I didn't know what the
Nas type.
Okay.
Fabulous, Jadakiss. They're my biggest and some of my biggest influences. But I was like using weed or Adderall or whatever, and I used it as a crutch. And like I got to a point I had some health issues, and I was like, man, what do I want to do? What makes me happy sober? How can I be creative sober? And I used to make like little stupid Facebook videos, or just like my first set ever doing comedy was just some jokes that I had written on Facebook. Like one of the first things I wrote on Facebook is still one of my best jokes. It's you ever got a blowjob from a girl with a buzz cut? You don't know whether to bust a nut or give her a noogie. And that was a Facebook joke. It got like maybe 60 likes or laughs at the time.
Yeah.
And it was part of my first set, and it still does great. And so like I always wanted to be funny, and it is something that I actually do sober as far as like writing or performing too. I mean, I have a couple beers, but it's like I'm having fun sober. And at one point in life, I never thought that could happen. Like I always needed weed, Adderall. Like take Adderall. It's my best day ever. I want to do everything.
right.
And I would like look back at pictures and videos of me on Adderall. It's like my eyes are bugged out. I was telling dates that I'd be rapping, and I'm like giving the wrong dates. And I'm like, okay, you think you're doing great on Adderall, but you're really you're not thinking clear, really.
Right.
Like you've got a lot of energy and doing stuff. So I was like, what can I do sober that I enjoy? And now I'm just like still got the same energy that I had when I like took Adderall. Like I'm making this clip, or I'm writing a joke, or I'm making a flyer. It's like I am excited about it and staying up late doing it, and I'm not on drugs. So that's what I love most about comedy. It's just like pure happiness. That's it can make you sad too, but
Sure.
or you can but as far as just doing it, I'm happier.
Right. That's awesome, man. It's good because you experience the true lows and the highs.
Right.
And some people say with comedy, like, a lot of people say with comedy, like you don't know pain until you've done stand up.
Yeah. It can be pretty painful sometimes.
Which makes me think, okay, so now I've seen your act, and I encourage anybody who might have a chance to go see Patrick to go see it. Where do you usually draw your material from?
So just like when stuff comes to me, so like before I was actually doing stand up, I'd get in little modes. I spend a lot of time at home, like just doing dishes, laundry, cleaning up, keeping tidy. And like when I get in my zone, just doing whatever, sometimes thoughts will come to me, or conversation with a friend. But I used to, before I did stand up, when a real funny thought came to me, I would like go to Facebook and like, let me type Patrick Logan on Facebook, follow me, I might say something funny. I'd go to Facebook and I'd just like write my original thought, and then I'd look at it for 10, 15 minutes to get it as best as it could be. It's just random thoughts. Like I really don't make time to sit down and write. But a lot of things, dating, talking to friends. Sometimes when I'm just not having a good time, it's like I have to force myself to feel better, Right. And when I do that, like when you go through shit and it sucks and you're not having fun, you're depressed or whatever, eventually I have to bring myself out of that. Like I have anxiety, paranoia. Eventually I get tired of being sad, and I'm like, let me bring myself out of this. And then sometimes like a funny thought will come. Sometimes one of my most recent jokes, I was going to sleep and I saw something about the birds and the bees, and I got a thought, I don't want to give my joke away, but like,
Sure.
It's not just birds and bees anymore, It's like,
Right.
So
Sure.
it's like, and then the next day I forgot it, and somebody sent me something about birds and bees. I was like, oh, there's that joke. Let me write it down, because I knew I went to sleep with like a good joke on my mind.
You got
But
that
no,
one back
yeah.
because I don't know how many times I'm laying there And you're like, oh, I thought you think it's something funny, and then you don't write it down. The next day,
You have to.
what the hell was it?
Yeah, you have to write it down. I was so happy when Brian Williams sent me a meme about birds and beavers. I was like, there it is. Because like earlier that day, I was like, what? I knew it was so funny what I was thinking last night.
Right.
And then I couldn't think of it. And then he sent me something. I was like, there it is. So I was like, man, like it just came in the clutch. It's like just random.
Old B hook you up with the inadvertent assist there.
Heck yeah. Thanks, B. Will. Heck yeah.
Yeah, good guy, man. So you're feeling. So what are you most proud of that you've done so far in comedy? Like what have you done so far that obviously it's not the end of the journey, but it's a peak that you've reached with still more peaks to come.
Right. Yeah, man. So when I first started, I was just I couldn't believe I was doing it because it'd been something that I wanted to do for so long. I had on a list like of future things like get my tattoos covered up, my shitty tattoos like on the long-term list,
Right.
Start a podcast, do stand-up comedy. And one day I moved into my own apartment and I was like, let me go to an open mic. So when I first started, I couldn't believe, and I started having good sets. I couldn't believe I was doing it. I was just like, man, this is like, I'm actually doing something that I've admired for 30 years, that I've just loved forever. And so that was, and then I started getting good and then go try to do competitions. Came in second on a competition one time. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm good. You think you're the best, but no, I got to get better. I got to get better. And then you accomplish something. But the thing is, you always have to you need new stuff. You need better stuff. You need it tighter. You need clean stuff. You need there's always a challenge up next. And, but the thing I'm most proud of so far is the roast battle in Virginia Beach Funny Bone, because I just didn't think I would even make it past the first round. And people have talked about roasting. I'm like, I'll never do a roast. Like I'm usually getting roasted. That was like multiple rounds going against multiple people that I look up to. And to win that it was a big rush and an awesome feeling.
So here's one of the things that I noticed about you. When I saw on Facebook when you had won the roast battle down in Virginia Beach, it did not surprise me.
Thank you, man.
Because here's what I tell you. One of the things that I think about it is because I can tell you grew up in a neighborhood or in a situation where you had to maybe defend yourself a little bit from time to time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I can see it in your act. And then so when you went down there and then I saw the picture of you with a belt, I was like, fuck yeah, man.
Hell yeah. I'm telling you, bullying can be good in some cases, man. Like
pay the bill.
I was that guy always getting roasted. Like I grew up around some funny people, man. And I was never the good. I was the guy making everybody else funny because of how bad they're roasting me. And
right.
I also had some asshole friends that I had to learn eventually to just not let it get to me. Every time you catch yourself being mad, realize, this is an opportunity to not be mad. And what thought's going to go through your head when you're not mad? Because like when you react on emotion, they're getting you, So if you just stop the emotion part first, like as soon as you start feeling, even it can be with anything, arguing with people, arguing with women, you don't argue, you feel that feeling. You're like, I notice myself getting mad or upset. Let me stop that. And then other thoughts will come, and then that's when you get them with a comeback, or that's when so I had to learn to not be in my feelings. And some of those guys, man, like one of my friends who was the roast king, Russell Lawmeyer, I believe that's how I spell my dear friend's name or say my dear friend's name. He was the roast king. And he was like, he's like, damn. He's like, you funny now because we used to roast your ass all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it really did. I guess it has had a good effect on me.
Yeah. You grew up in a multicultural sort of a setting?
Yeah, man. I was the only white kid on my bus route. I met one of a few white kids on my bus route. And then when I lived there for 13 to 14 years. So when I moved, I just gravitated to black friends or not the average white kids. That's who I grew up around. That's who it's just always be a part of me. Yeah.
Right. No, I think anybody who grows up in a society where you have more than just your own kind of people, I think any child that starts off in that situation is already ahead in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, because you're not just stuck in one viewpoint or one perspective. You see what life is for other people, and
Yeah, you see what their backgrounds are, what they're, especially like Diwali celebration. I've been to one of those. I think that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm not too actually familiar with that, honestly. Right,
the Diwali. It's
like,
an Indian.
yeah.
It's like I don't know if it's the New Year's. God damn it! I don't want to talk out about it, but I don't want to say what it is, and it's not even close to it. But
well, you were there.
Yeah. But I was there. Yeah. It was a good time. So all right, so you're proud of that. You got the good base going on. What are you not? I'm trying to see how I could word this. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, all right, I'm going to ask him some questions. But is there? I guess I just say it like this: is there anything about your comedy and your act and how you're doing it so far that you don't like?
I don't like how most of the content I put out is like dirty or naughty. So people automatically assume, oh, you're just a dirty comic. I'm talking about sex and this and that. Because there is more to my act, but I'm like working on some clean stuff. I want to be funny in any situation, but most of my early comedy was all dirty stuff. But I've always had a perverted sense of humor, so I'll always be that. But to challenge myself, like, I don't know, it could be good to be looked at. Like, a lot of people like dirty, naughty humor, and but I don't want to be just that, you know?
Let's go back and look at it. I remember, what was his name? God damn it. He had been on the Tonight Show, but he was from the D.C. area. Roger Mersick, and he was always telling me, and this other guy, Bill King, they would say, you gotta be able to work clean.
Yeah.
Because it'll open up so many different rooms. Well, that's a good goal, though. That's a good. I've been trying to do stuff that is more like the innuendo than the straight up.
Right. Than the word. Yeah. So that's kind of. So I'm working on trying to get like 10 minutes of clean material. And when I say clean, I mean like not saying the F word, not cussing or not saying the word dick or pussy, but still having like a sexual joke. I would say that's clean enough to like send to someone who wants clean material. So, I mean, I've had somebody say, hey man, send me a 10-minute set clean, and we'll get you some work, So I'm like hoping to do that. I'm hoping to maybe do that at Annie Roof's, February 24th, right. Wine Bar and Grill. Wait, no, see, I didn't fuck it up. Annie Roof's Wine Bar and Bistro. Hopefully this will be out before then. In Richmond.
It
will. Doing 2 shows there. But like when I get booked on a show like that, I want to give it my best. And sometimes, but I also want to get 10 clean in front of a good crowd. Right. So it's like, if this is a good crowd, I want to do my best stuff. But also, I mean, the clean stuff I have is pretty good. So I'm going to try to I had planned to do it like last weekend or 2 ago at a festival, but then it's a room of like 400 people and they're all loud. I'm like, oh yeah, I've definitely got to use my good jokes.
Got to use
best
your big
ones.
voice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I want to do that soon.
I get you. I did see their show at Annie Roof's. Nick D's put on a heck of a show. The first one I saw. You could definitely probably get away with doing some blue materials, they call it.
All right, so I forget. Blue clean or not clean?
Blue is not clean.
Okay.
Blue is more of a nice term that they used to give comics where, they're dirty. They're a dirty comic. I mean, it might,
it's just so fun, man.
It is fun, but it is absolutely fun. And I've been on both sides of it, but there is that equation of, can you do 10 minutes of, because, if you go see Seinfeld or, anybody like that, I mean, they don't do that. I mean, I guess Seinfeld over the years has gotten a little more, I don't know, risque in some of the stuff he says, but he never drops an F-bomb. He never, on stage. Now, if you watch like the movie Comedian, have you ever seen the movie Comedian?
I haven't. I should.
You should.
Old or new or?
It came out in 2001.
Comedian.
Seinfeld. Yeah, I actually have a DVD of it over there. I just saw it the other day after the show was over, and it's about him getting back into stand-up. and the sort of journey he has to take, which of course is much easier than anybody who's just starting out because he's already Seinfeld. So he walks into, Caroline's in New York and says, or Stand Up New York or The Cellar and says, hey, I want to do a set. They put him on any show he wants to go on, as opposed to you or me go and they're like, yeah, go get in the fucking line.
Right.
Because that's where you are. So
Right.
It follows that, and also follows Orny Adams, who it was young at the time and coming up, and he looks like an asshole in the movie, and he admits that. But he's a really nice guy. I met him in person. He's a really cool dude and very funny. I would recommend any young comic watch that movie because it just. And actually, Orny in the movie, in comedian, he says, "I never really felt pain until I did comedy," and I've always felt that. And like you were talking about, trying to make yourself happy and kind of getting back to it, there's times. I mean, even last Friday when I went and did the Barrel Roll comedy show, I went and partly one of the reasons why I did it was for me, comedy is I don't think about other things. Do you find that it does that for you, or do you find it's more like an escape? I know you were kind of talking about that earlier, but do you really find like you take solace in doing jokes?
The past 2 years, I've been pretty blessed as far as like life has been good, So it's like it's easy to have fun when life is good, I guess when I first started, I was like getting over some like depression or getting over like a rough patch. Since I started, it's been really good. I've been really lucky right now. The past 2 years have been great for me, just overall. Everything, work, personal life, been pretty good. But then like, last week I was a little stressed because like, I got some car issues, but it's okay. Everything's fine. It's like, but it's like, you still got to go out and do it. I guess, I always kind of have turned my pain into humor anyway. So if I go through something or I'm feeling weird about something, once I make a joke about it, it's like, oh, okay. And I think, also Apple Brown Betty told me that too. She was like, or maybe she posted it on Facebook, but I can really relate to it. Like if I'm not feeling good about something and then I can make it into a joke, it's like, oh, there it goes. It's done now. It's not bothering me anymore.
Right. Yeah, she's strong, man. She really is. And she definitely, yeah, I could see her saying that's awesome. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. I think that's definitely one of the things you have to address as a comic, because you will do it if you do it long enough. You will have some, terrible breakup,
yeah,
or something, and you are going to be so fucking down about it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a call, hey, can you do comedy tonight?
Damn.
No, I don't want to. But you know what? You go up there and you do it. And yeah, if you can make a joke about it. I think there was one time I made a joke about this breakup I was having. This woman came up to me afterwards. And she wasn't hitting on me or anything like that. It wasn't like that. But she came up to me. She's like, I'm sorry about your breakup. And I go, oh, okay. And it kind of caught me off guard. And I said, okay, thanks. And she goes, I just wanted you to know I could really feel your pain in that joke. And I swear to God, I almost cried, dude.
Yeah.
I was always like, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know. Part of me was kind of like, shut the fuck up, lady. You know what I mean?
I was joking about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it now.
It's a comedy club, man. It's a comedy club.
Way to bring the room down.
So, all right. So let's talk about this. So anything in comedy, right? Anytime you get into comedy, you got to have goals, right? What are your goals? What do you want to do with comedy? Like, where do you want to be in it? Do you see yourself being a certain level or being a certain kind of comic? Or do you see yourself, I hate to use the term, but where do you see yourself in 10 years, Patrick?
Yeah,
Logan?
man. I love that question. I want to do this forever, man. Like, I don't see myself ever not wanting to do this. I've always tried to be the funny guy, always been the guy in class, or always been funny, and now that I'm doing it, I don't know if I ever want something more than comedy, that'll be amazing, because I just want to do it forever. Like rap, I still love rap and I'm like very good at it, but I'm just not like, I want to wake up and rap today. It's like comedy. It's like, I want to be there the next time I can. If I'm not there, I'm either exhausted or have something to do,
Right.
or like, so, I'd like to go as far as I can go with it. And I do think, like, not to be in a humble way, I think I do have the ability. I feel like I can connect with a lot of different people. black crowds, white crowds, gay crowds, straight crowds. Like I think that will take me far.
Absolutely. It will. Yeah. I mean, and I've noticed that you are doing this other thing. So, you're doing some of the shows that are more technically what they call an urban audience or a Def Jam audience. And you've actually done very well. You're in the finals. What is it? The
Showtime at the Park.
Showtime at the Park. Yeah.
Apollo style show. Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Thanks,
So
man.
yeah, no, I mean, that's, but I mean, are you going to, here, let me ask you this, because eventually, and I'll say this, I don't even know why I'm going down this road, but I guess I am. Eventually you're going to have to go someplace like a New York or a Los Angeles. So you have that long term?
Are you saying, do I plan on that?
Yeah. Because you had also talked about Austin, and you made a trip to Austin.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'd love to go to New York, man. I did go to Austin. That's really the only outside comedy scene that I've been to. I don't know what my thoughts are on moving yet. Like right now, I kind of.
Well, right. I'm just saying it's not a decision you have to make.
But
today.
yeah, I'd like to go visit. I'd love to. Like I've never been to New York. I know that's a hot spot, one of the hottest, if not, Austin, L.A., New York. That's. I'd love to go there. I haven't really. I do have a full-time job, and I do have like vacation and stuff, but I haven't really thought about where I'm going next or when. But I would like to. I'd like to spend a week there. And just
hanging out.
Yeah.
It is hard to get on if you're not from there, but you can do it. I tell you, to go see it. Comics will ask me, don't you have to go to New York or LA? And I say pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it used to be quite, but and I'm not going to say your name drop, but I am, I had Mike Birbiglia, who I've known since he started. I'm not saying I know him now really, but I used to know him back in the day and whatever. I see him around, but him and then Leno both told me themselves, if you want to do something in comedy, you have to go to New York, LA, because you have to get up every single night and do it. It's one of like, you can always work the road. You can always work the road. That's what I did. And so, but you are going to get to that point though.
Yeah, man. So like, so far things have kind of like come to me like, can you host, people see I'm doing comedy, can you host a show or competitions or anything and everything I can get, and then people ask me to do stuff and I go out of town and meet somebody else and they're like, so right now I'm taking anything and everything. There are a few people that I want to like send something to, like I've seen Apple Brown Betty do the feature at the Apollo, and I guess I know a few people that know Bob Sumner, so I'm like, they're like, you should go with us. You should come and see a show. He'll maybe put you on or something on a show just to see what you got, And that's like something that came to me that I really didn't go looking for, that I plan on doing. Like let's go to, I don't even want to say what state it's in. That it's a different place. Oh, Willingboro. I don't know exactly where that is, but that's a show people say I should go to. So like little stuff like that comes to me instead of just like, I'm going to pick up and move and go do this. Like Austin was great, but like I don't necessarily want to. I could see myself living there, but it's nice to be close to family right now. I really like what Nick Dees is doing. He's like he's getting a lot of work. He like quit his job. Last I remember, he quit his job and he's still living right in Virginia Beach or somewhere in that area, which is very inspiring. Maybe not everybody can do that, but it is cool to see someone around here making a living on comedy and he's like, could be going other places and stuff. So, moving maybe one day, I guess it would be cool. I would like to, but it's also cool to think like, what can I get? I'll just do everything I can around here and see where it goes, see what opportunity comes.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you got to make a decision. Like I would never go, like for you, I wouldn't say like, hey, move to New York right now.
Right.
That would be, it's a little premature, but it's one of those things. It's one of those things to think about. And I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
Throw you a curveball there.
When I was in Austin, like everybody's like, if you want this, you have to move here. If you really want this, this is where it's at.
Right.
And, I mean, yeah, I could see it. And then also I'm down there, I'm thinking, man, there's no black crowd. There's not like black rooms down here. Like I don't like, it's mostly white people, like, but then Houston. So it's like, I guess you could do whatever, the same thing you do here, you could do there, find where your stuff is. But the thought of moving somewhere, I would.
Is it terrifying?
I would like to. Well, when you're in a small place, it's easy to kind of, be the big fish in the little pond. Not saying I'm that yet, but it's easy to do that. And eventually, you do have to go to a bigger pond, and it's
yeah, and that's the thing. All right, so I'll tell you this story, and I guess I'm using the podcast to tell you to be and give you advice or anything. But like Leno said, he was like, "What are you gonna do? You're gonna be the biggest fish in DC." And so I tell people, eventually you're gonna have to, or you need to get on with the road, which you will be doing.
But then at the same time, like Nick D's just headlined the Funny Bone in Richmond. He headlined the Sandman Comedy Club when it was here. He headlined Kazi's, and he's like, man, my next is like Virginia Beach. If I'm not doing that here, then why should I even think about moving? If I can't conquer this, like really, I mean, what my plan is, I want to get. So the longest set I've done is 20 minutes. I know I've got like 30 worth of material. I haven't put it together yet, like in order and stuff. But I want to get like a tight 30, at least before I think about moving anywhere.
You should probably,
or maybe even an hour.
Yeah, probably a tight hour. And they say, you should have a little heat to you. All right, well, you just told me to shut the fuck up then, I guess.
No. Hey, can I pee real quick?
Oh, yeah. All right, so hold on.
It?
Yeah, we're going to... All right, yeah. So, all right, so Patrick's going to go take a whiz. We're going to take a break. Stick around. More John D Podcast with Patrick Logan right after this. When I quit booze for good, one thing I learned was to always keep your palate entertained. And one of my new favorite ways to make it happen is BlendJet 2. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even an NA margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. With over 30 plus colors and patterns to choose from, there's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. What are you waiting for? Go to JonDpodcom and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code JonDpod12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code JonDpod12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever. BlendJet 2. Now, I was going to do a thing on Facebook saying, about to hit up the podcast with Patrick Logan.
Yeah. So, I'm going to do a story. I'll do a story.
You're going to do a story?
Yeah. Just, no, I'm not going to tell a story. Just a story on the Instagram. Doing something fun with John D Pod. Hell yeah. JonDpodcom. All right. Yep.
Yeah. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to tell everybody, welcome back to part 2 of episode 61.
Cool.
Of John D Podcast. Here with Patrick Logan. We had to take a little break. I had to do an ad spot. How was your break, everybody? Thank you to our sponsor, BlendJet. JonDpod12 at checkout for 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Just had to get that out of the way. So we're back. Patrick is doing a story now after our potty break.
Yes, took a potty break.
took a little whiz. Yeah. So we were talking about comedy before.
Comedy.
And so one thing I was going to ask you, we'll just finish up that part of it. Do you have anybody? So like back in the day, I wanted to work with, like when I was first starting out doing comedy, like Pablo Francisco. I loved Pablo, loved the voices, loved everything else. And he was one of the people that I wanted to work with the most. I'd go see him at the Improv. I'd go see him, wherever when he was in town. I finally got to work with him at one point. Do you have somebody right now that you want to work with one day?
I know it sounds cliche, man. I love the whole comedy mothership thing going on where it's just like everybody all in one spot, man. I'd love to be a part of that one day and just like, I guess it's a goal and but if I could think of one person, man, I couldn't even tell you.
I mean, there's no wrong answer. Like, it's just somebody that you would love to do like a week with, like I was someone like Pablo or, back at like Lewis Black. I got to work with Lewis Black before. Lewis is so awesome.
Yeah.
I got to work with him, and stuff like that. Like, there's somebody that you think of right now, like you really watch. You're like, fuck yes, I want to work with that dude one day.
Yeah, well, I know I might be too late for this. Oh, Joey Diaz is one of my favorites, man, but he's not even like touring or anything right now. I think he's trying to do a residency. I mean, I love what Shane Gillis is doing, Mark Norman. I'm trying to think of but I mean, those are like big shots, somebody that's moving around.
Joey Diaz. What about Joey Diaz? That's a character right there, man. That's a dude that, I mean, he's got some, I mean, what about him?
He's a wild motherfucker, yo.
He is. He is. Yeah, he is. He's got that voice.
He's okay, so this is real cool. Before I ever did comedy, I would always listen to Rogan's podcast. Joey Diaz is up there, and just love listening about comedy when they used to talk about it like in LA, and I thought it was something at that time that I would have to move out there to do. And so I always loved listening to the stories, learning about it, and never even knew it was going on right in Richmond. Never even knew I could do open mics or showcases. But since I've been doing comedy, I've learned so much from Joey Diaz, man. I listen to the Comedy Bible, but Joey Diaz, just stories and his tips, man, I mean, he's just a wealth of knowledge, man. And he's funny and cool and not he's raw, man. And that's what I appreciate and like.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, the guy has definitely been around. Like, the guy has done and seen some shit, what I mean? So any of that's going to translate through. That's interesting. I did see him not long ago. I saw a clip of him. I think it was at the Improv in LA. And I mean, it was good. Like, it was just solid, but it was literally just one, I don't know, 7-minute story.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching it going, I can't tell a story for 7 minutes. I mean, I can, but I don't think I've ever been able to do it on a stage, type of thing. So, yeah, he's that's an interesting choice there.
Yeah, definitely would love to have a conversation with him, man. That'd be cool. I mean, who knows? It may never happen, but that'd be awesome, man.
I heard do not eat his gummies. The ones that he eats.
Right, for sure. Yeah.
Apparently they are waste. I mean, Pauly Shore was talking about it. Other comics I've seen who've talked about going on his podcast and been like, yeah, I couldn't find the door to get out of the building.
Right. Absolutely not. Yeah. I mean, this stuff affects me way too much right now, but I'd still do it. It's Joey Diaz. What are you going to do?
You're there.
I'd feel so safe.
You get a fucking Uber or something. Jesus.
I'd feel safe as crap.
I mean, when else are you going to be there?
Like your granddad or something, father. Yeah. Like the dad I never had. Like, I'm safe with Joey. I'll do it. I'll be scared, but I'll be there with Joey Diaz. Yeah.
I love you, Joey. I love you too.
What are you doing? You fucking crying over there?
What are you fucking crying about? Eat this gummy. Nah.
What about you, man? You still have a wish list?
Do I still have a wish list?
Somebody you'd like to work with?
Like Hedberg back in the day was always one that I loved. And my buddy, executive producer on the show, Tom Ankov. That's his voicemail when you call him. And it's an ongoing thing I do on here because his voicemail sounds like that. But he got to do a night with Hedberg in D.C. one time, and I was so fucking jealous.
Yeah.
And my buddy, Tom, he killed it. Absolutely killed it.
That's awesome.
And he got to hang out with Hedberg in the green room, and yeah, dude. So I was jealous of that. And then when he died, I think that took a big one off my list of people where I could yes, I want to.
Yeah.
But I did, like Hedberg he'd come out and talk to the comics and stuff. So it's not like I never interacted with him, but to do a show, somebody like that, because when you do comedy and you get to work with somebody that you really respect, and then they watch you and they give you feedback and they do all that stuff, man, that's one of the best goddamn feelings in the world. Much less somebody that you just love their stand up and their comedy.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're like, damn, I need to get, it's almost like a driving factor.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to get to the level where I'm that guy's opener. I want to make it one day. But you don't just want to do comedy, right? You don't want to do just that. You have, of course, I know you're being the rapper, right? I don't mean to laugh when I say that. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing when
That's what everybody says. No. Oh, no. I would I think it'd also be like a perfect time right now to release a rap because a lot of people hear me joke about it, but they've never actually listened or don't realize that I actually am
Well, I'm gonna
have it.
I'm gonna say this: you don't necessarily sort of put forth the image of being a rapper, but at the same time, I think that's pretty common, anyways, in this day and age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is fun when people are surprised. But nowadays people would say I look like a SoundCloud rapper. I've been called that before, it's funny because I am a SoundCloud rapper. So thank you. But
that's funny.
It is cool to really, you don't expect a white guy, even with all the great all the great white rappers we have now.
That's the name for
the
it.
Four of them,
wipers.
Yeah,
white rappers are now called wipers.
Yeah, yeah, man. And but even with the four awesome greats we have now, it still surprises people when somebody white can rap. And not to discredit anybody or I love art, everybody's art, but a lot of white rappers sound really nerdy, and they're really just saying big words. So it is cool to surprise people. So I think that is something. I don't know if I'd ever be a full-time rapper, but I definitely see myself rapping again. Right now I have a full-time job, and I'm trying to put my all into comedy. So
the rapping will come.
Yeah, so if I ever made a living, got to where I didn't have to work a 9 to 5, I'd definitely rap.
Oh, hell yeah.
Make an album. I don't really know. Only thing else I'd like to do is skits. I like skits. I like acting and just taking on characters and stuff. So that'd be cool. But right now it's just my 9 to 5 comedy and seeing my mom when I can, or trying to get a date. I also want to be a dad one day too. That's
oh yeah, we were talking off air, and Patrick was saying, yeah, I can't believe you're a dad. I forget you're a dad, and I said, yeah, I do too sometimes.
Yeah,
it is different. It does change things.
It's I just don't know, man, I'm 34 now, which I know I could, I've got some time, I'm 34 now, and I'm finally getting into something that I want to give my all to. So I don't even have time to try to think about a family right now. So it's I don't know. I guess I'll just go with the flow also. I don't plan stuff, but I'm not going to plan I'm going to find somebody, have a kid right now. But I do want one day, but I see myself chasing comedy as much as I can right now. So.
Right. I could see you being a dad, man. You'd probably be pretty cool. I mean, you seem like you're cool and laid back. One of the things, trying to draw the line between being that funny, silly dad, because I am a comedian. My kid knows I'm a comedian, or a comic, I guess you could say. But, and then sometimes I break bad on him, and then he's like, oh, what the
fuck? You also have to, be cool and discipline. You have to discipline and teach and, make sure they don't fuck up,
Yeah, I think they wrote a song about that.
Yeah.
Teach your children well or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, man. I think you seem like a pretty well-rounded person. You seem like you got yourself. You got mojo going, which is good.
Yeah, man.
And you don't have to follow any of my advice, because what the fuck am I? I'm sitting.
No, I appreciate advice.
Here.
I appreciate, I'm always, I think that's part of the reason why I'm so far successful, not successful rich, but successful as in doing good, is doing good and doing more, and things are coming for me, is because I'm open to advice, and I've always want to learn. Sometimes you get mad, somebody tries to teach you something, and people, I know, I got it, I don't need you to tell me. No, I need you to tell me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And even if I make my own decision, it's I appreciate all advice, and always trying to soak up new information and use it the best I can. And
I remember talking to you when I first met you, and I remember you asked me a question. You were talking about building jokes. You were like, you got any advice on building my act up? And that's exactly what you said. I think you were trying to say build it up quickly. But the thing was you actually listened to me. I don't know how many times people have gone, hey, what do you think about this? And then I started telling them, and then you could see their face go blank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, you didn't really want to fucking know this. Don't patronize me.
Yeah. It's you gotta be able to learn. Everybody should be open to learn. You don't know it all. Nobody knows it all.
No. Well, that's but it's kind of takes us in the next thing, because we were talking off air, I guess you could say it, when we're during the break, and we were saying, like, what do you feel the state of comedy is and the way it is? And I know it's maybe kind of a in-depth, heavy question, but where do you feel like in the relation of comedy is to sort of what modern culture is now? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you feel like it's changed because of it? And I ask you this because you're one of the people that I've run into who is, 30s and younger, who has actually been paying attention to comedy for a long time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Well, one of my biggest fears, like so I love Richmond. So happy to be part of the community here. But I do notice Richmond is a little more progressive than where I grew up at.
Right.
So one of my fears was, man, will I be able to express myself? Will I be able to say what I want to say? I have been able to, and I think there's a place for everybody in comedy. But I do love, how can we take, and this shouldn't be anybody's goal, like to come out talking about sensitive topics, but if you can make it funny the same way I make my own problems funny, if I can like make the world's problems funny, or, how can we have two different views. How can we both laugh at something, and like,
right.
I took somebody else's advice, like, don't worry about talking about sensitive topics right now. Learn how to be funny, learn how to be funny. And then, whatever. It is cool to, like, I think right now people want to hear everything. They don't want a governor on comedy,
Right.
So like, but the thing is making it funny and not doing it out of hate, but doing it out of like, hey, we can laugh together. You
Right.
can laugh at me and I can laugh at you, and we can laugh at each other. But like when it comes to the point of like being mean or like inciting violence, then that is not comedy. That's not comedy.
Right. I think that's very well said, actually. I one of the best attitudes people can have, and we both share this mentality, is just don't be shitty. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And you see it in comedy, you see it in everything. I don't know. For me, I feel like comedy has, I don't want to touch religion or politics anymore. And I feel like if there's something that we can all do, we can all come together and be in a room laughing about, school buses or whatever. I was thinking about Holly's joke just now. I don't know why, Holly Baumful.
Yeah.
And we'll give her a shout out
Holly.
here on the podcast. Holly, what's up, girl? I was just thinking, we can all laugh about school buses.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's a good thing to have something along those lines. I don't know. It drives me crazy when I see young comics and they go down that road of just the divisive shit. And it's like, come on, man. Can we get past that?
Yeah, man. If you take a side, then you're limiting your audience, and like me, I'm not a guru or anything, but I feel like I haven't figured it out, but like, okay, religion, I used to hate religion growing up. Well, no, let me start over. I went to church growing up and I learned, a lot about being a good person, but then you grow up and you start realizing how it's like controlled by money and it divides people and war and this and that, so then I hated religion. And I used to just like always try to preach to people, oh, it's not real. It's all about control, power. And then now older, I'm like, hey, I appreciate anybody that believes in like something to be a good person, some type of incentive. There's good and bad people everywhere, in every group. I don't need to take a stance on religion because, hey man, if you have something that makes you want to be a good person, great. And I don't really have to take sides on politics because, hey, be a good person. Whether you like these views or this views, there's like nothing I can really do to change the world other than be nice to the people around me, try to be a better person. And I'm not perfect. Like I can be shitty sometimes, but to try to be the best person I can be. And if I can improve myself, then I'm doing something in the world, Instead of just like screaming at people, we have different views, blah, blah, blah. Like, hey man, we can all learn and do better,
right.
and so I don't have to like fight for one side or the other. The key is to be on the same side to like everybody, but almost, that's wishful thinking though, but
It is. I mean, it is wishful thinking, but also in the same aspect of it. I think that there's nothing wrong with having lofty goals. Shoot for it. And then if you fall short, at least you probably landed somewhere.
Yeah, I just don't want to
above
be.
where you were.
Yeah. I don't want to be a part of an argument. I want to be a part of a conversation. So if anybody wants to, I'm not inviting people to conversate with me, but if oh, why aren't you fighting the fight? Like, I'm not arguing. I'm not trying to argue with nobody.
Right.
But if you want to talk about something, let's talk. So
Yeah, I hear that. But you have shows coming up February 17th. You're gonna be the Culpeper Sangria Bowl.
Yeah,
What the fuck
I
is
think
that?
it's in a. I don't know much about. I think it's in like a theater or what used to be at a theater. Jai Toller. I've done
Jai,
Mineral
yeah. Good dude.
with him. The one show he's had me on was a great show. I'm excited to go see him again. I'm excited to do something out of town. I'm excited to do 15 minutes. I'm trying to.
Awesome.
I've been tightening that up lately.
I know some people up in Culpeper, but this will be out before then. It should be. So go see that if you happen to check this out. February 24th, Annie Roos right here close to me on Hull Street in Midlothian, doing Clash of the Comics on the 25th.
Yes.
Right after that,
Yes.
the night after.
At the Funny Bone in Richmond.
Yeah.
Yep, excited about that. Gonna try to make an impression. The Clash, man. It's like the Richmond Funny Bone is the biggest club where we're at. It's the place where you want to be. If you're serious about comedy. I just love having something to look forward to, dates to do. Probably it's way late into this podcast to promote it, but yeah, I do run a show once every first Sunday at another Round Bar and Grill. You have done a great show there. Have your set on YouTube.
That was awesome.
That was a fun time. That was really good.
Yeah, Quick Burn is available on my YouTube, JonDpodcom.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. Great set, great time. But yeah, I do run the show every first Sunday at 7 p.m. at another Round Bar and Grill in Richmond. I love that. We don't have to talk much about it, but definitely you should come out. It's a fun time. I do whatever I want, which I need to work on being a more friendly, not friendly, I am friendly, but more professional host, because I get in there like I'm the feature act. So I need to like work on
Yeah, well, the show I did with you, you definitely had a comfort factor in that room. So one of the, like when I first go to a place to do comedy, even if I'm working regularly week after week, my first show in a new place tends to be kind of, it's not quite me. It's not quite me. Yeah, it's my jokes. Yeah,
Right.
but that's not that comfort factor. And when I saw you another round, because you're there every show, running the show, which is great, you definitely have a comfort factor. But I don't think it detracted from the show. But it's pretty laid back though.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that. Which is cool.
That's what I want it to be, man, where like anybody can come, anybody, no matter what. You can do your offensive material, you can do your pro whatever thing you support or want to put it, whatever. I want everybody to be able to do what they want, no matter what. And but also I've kind of realized, I got some advice recently, which I really take into consideration. Like, do I really want to start a show being very dirty and vulgar, and then bring on a comic who might be a little more clean? Right. Or, so that's something that I'm really considering. But it's just so fun to have a room where I can do what I want, and the crowd's super cool.
Yeah.
The crowd's with it. But we've had some great shows there. The 1 year anniversary was cool. I'm looking forward to what's to come. And it is cool having your own spot and being around friends and like doing a show with friends.
Oh yeah.
Like when I do Sammy Tamimi's room, man, this is my buddy bringing me up. I just feel like welcome. I feel like we're at home. We're hanging with the buds, and like it makes a set go. Like I've always had a good set there at the Reveille.
How dirty? If you could have your own show, you're the headliner. You're the man. You're on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
What's your level of blueness, as we were saying, that you would actually go to?
Oh yeah, man. So I'd love to like just cover it all. I have a few innocent jokes that are just like normal stuff that anybody can relate to. And then something that was really cool, I did the Don't Tell show at the lingerie place. And the thing about comedy is you never know when you're going to kill. You never know what the crowd's going to be like. I mean, you can do well, but when you're killing and you just have them in the palm of your hand, that's when I have a couple jokes that I do different ways depending on the crowd.
Right.
Like it might be seen as offensive if it bombs or whatever, but like, man, at Don't Tell, I got to do, like, I just had them, man, and then so I was like, when I got to the joke where I do it, sometimes I do it one way, sometimes I do it the other way, and I just did it the offensive way, and it was like one of my biggest pops, you know. And then afterwards I was like, yeah, sometimes I have to switch that joke up, but y'all are cool, you know. You know, and I love crowds like y'all that I don't even want to say the topic, but it was just like, yeah, I love hateful crowds like you. I can say what I want, you know, but it was a joke too, and they're not really hateful people, but I'm saying, hey, yeah, we're all being bad together, you know. So like, yeah, I want to go from top to bottom. Like, if it's funny to me, I mean, if it's funny to me and I can make it funny for other people, like I want to be.
You'd be R-rated.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So one of the things, so we were talking about the whole thing with the lingerie shop. So that was actually, what was it? Licious Boutique, right? Is what it was. And you actually, dude, almost made me spit my water out because I was watching that bit. And the only reason I give this joke away is because it is on, I think, on Instagram. But you were talking about how this is the first time I've ever been forced, I think is how you put it, to do comedy with a boner.
Or, well, not necessarily forced. This is the first time that I've had. This is the first time I've ever had to do comedy
with the boner.
Because it was funny. Just, yeah, man. It just, when you can get them with that first joke. I mean, there's lingerie everywhere.
Yeah.
You can see it in the back. Like, a lot of people might not get it, but if you look at the video, Patrick Logan comedy on Instagram. If you look at the video, you can see like sparkly bras in the background and stuff. And
dude, that shit was funny. And one of the things I always preach about watching a comic, like even before I ever did comedy, was to see a comic do a joke that I sit there and go, man, fuck, I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have thought about that in that place. That
was so much fun. One of my most fun sets for sure. But it is cool when you do something off the cuff, something improv with the first, because I don't even have an opener joke for white crowds, man. I have an opener joke for black crowds. I just want to start off by saying I'm one of the good whites, you know, and that always gets them really fast. I do not have an opener for white crowds. And like one of the openers I was using, it takes about 30 to 40 seconds to get to. I like to get a laugh right away. So I really need to work on an opener, you know, for white crowds. But when I can think of something improv and just get a laugh that quick, it was so much fun. And but when I try improv, like to just start off saying something that's not on script, it can go either way. It can go good or bad, you know.
Well, so, you always want to. So I was telling somebody a while back, I was saying, you know, you always get that mic out of the stand clean, get that first laugh within like the first like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want to do it like right off the bat, and then I always tell people stick the landing. Because I don't care how slow your roll starts.
Yeah.
You just get to that ending. And that was one of the biggest, most frustrating things about me when I started back doing comedy. I wasn't sticking my landings.
Yeah.
And I always tell comics, stick your landings. Like, just, they don't have to be a huge laugh, but just get to that point where you surmise it and you just boom.
Like punches, yeah.
You punch it and then you're done.
Yeah.
If you can do that, man, you're 5 steps ahead in the game, in my opinion, as far as comedy goes.
Yeah, man. That's it reminds me of like when I did go to Austin, man, I was just seeing so many great comics, and they're just setup, punchline. And everybody has different setup, punchline, and just getting laugh. And then I come back and see the competition at Sandman Comedy Club, and some guys, like some really good comics are on there, setup, punch. And I'm like, it really changed the way I saw my writing process. Like everybody says cut the fat, but yeah, man, when you can just set something up and punch, and it like it makes it almost more, it makes it fun, man. It makes it fun. But that punch, yeah, man.
I used to have it. I don't know where it is. It might be on a corkboard upstairs, but it was Bill Hicks' 10 Rules of Stand-Up. And one of his rules is I don't have anything planned. I just go out there and start and see where it leads me. And I've never been able to follow that rule. But one of the things that it says is economy of words. And, you know, and pick the words, trim the fat, but don't trim out what you need. Like, make sure you get the point across.
Yeah.
One of the things he also said was don't ask them if it's funny.
Yes.
Tell them it's funny.
That's one thing I notice with somebody I know, somebody I'm close to, I love dearly. It's like, yeah, man, you have to tell them you're funny. You don't ask them. I mean, you said it. I just repeated exactly what you said. But yeah, man, like, even if they're not laughing and you just have that confidence and looking at them like, yeah, this is funny, especially with like the Apollo night where they're trying to like boo you. It's like, you have to have that confidence. You know, they want to boo you. You know, they might boo you even if you're good.
Did you get booed when you did
the first time I went, I got booed, but I came back. I have this awesome comeback. I'll go ahead and give it away. Yeah, somebody started booing, and I was like, they didn't say boo. That's my baby mama. She said, that's my boo. You know, and they died laughing.
That's good, man.
And then after they laughed for like 5 to 10 seconds, and then I was like, I'll be done in a moment, sweetheart. But then sometimes like I wonder, like, am I code switching? Because when I do a black room, my accent comes out, you know, and sometimes I think, man, am I code switching? But the truth is I've actually code switched to not have that accent, to not sound hood or ghetto or whatever.
Well, because you said before, you kind of grew up in that culture when you were younger. So.
Rapping, and then my job, I do customer service, and when they first hired me, they were like, hey, you have to have your, I don't want to say the company, you have to have your company voice.
Sure.
So like instead of saying
your corporate voice.
Yeah. Instead of saying like, hey, I'm gonna look at your account, you have to say, I'm going to look at your account.
Sure.
Or, you know, so that really helped me with comedy because I didn't used to always talk and pronounce my words like this. So when I'm in front of a crowd, they can hear what I'm saying. You know, they can understand. I mean, it is pretty cool how my job helped me be better at comedy, you know, because I got into my job like a year or two before comedy. So getting that phone voice has helped me to where, but then when I am in front of a black crowd or like everybody's wild and I'm like, I love rap, you know, I love rap, you know, it's like, yeah, and it's, yeah, this one girl, man, white girl, crazy, man. This white girl said this crazy shit to me, and it's like people might say you're code switching, but no, that's I'm code switching right now. You know, right. I'm, sure. You know, but it's cool, man. I love psychology and just the different people, and yeah, so that's another interesting thing. So there's like two sides of my comedy.
Right.
But,
well,
yeah.
I think you do have the psychology because there is one of those things you have to sort of psychoanalyze people as to like, what can I say and what can I not say? And not on like an offensive level, but just really what can I do to get them to make them laugh? And you have to sort of think about where are they coming from, where you can paint that picture in their head and make them laugh about it.
Right.
I also think that's a good mentality to have. I also think it's cool that you admit that you have a job, that you work. A lot of people would come on this podcast, maybe comedy. Do you have a job? What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Like when they do, you know, they work down the street at fucking whatever.
Yeah, man. Like the idea of being a like a struggling comic, like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like 10 years ago when I was 24, I could see myself having roommates, struggling, being broke. I spent a lot of time doing that with rap, like just working a restaurant job. Now I've got a great job. Very thankful for it. But it does, man. I'm exhausted, man. I work 40 hours and then I do comedy. I feel like I could accomplish a lot more if that is a goal to like, I'm very far from it, but to make a living doing comedy, even if it's, but it is very nice having a job, being able to go out to the open mics, having gas, having money for a beer or two and a meal, being able to fund what I want to do. If I want to take a trip somewhere, you know. And
I get that.
Yeah.
Well, you also you have a good hustle factor. Like you have good drive. I was saying before, like I've done nothing but comedy at times, and there's time like when I met my wife, and then we found out 6 months later that pregnant. I could have supported myself on comedy money, but as far as doing it and supporting them for the level I was at,
family, yeah,
it changed a lot. And then so there's nothing wrong with that. That's good drive factor, man.
I'd really like to quit my job in 5 years or less, you know, and get it steady to where I can have a family. Like, okay, I've got, like right now I couldn't possibly because I've got to be at the next open mic, you know, right. At Home Sweet Home, right. You know, and like I've just got to do it. I got to keep it up, but it would be nice to get to the point where, okay, it's solidified. I'm getting work and now I can, you know, but how do you even do it? Because comedy is an everyday thing, man. It's like
it can
every
be.
night.
I mean, that's I'm not getting back to doing it like I used to, but at the same time, it's hey, it is what it is. But like for instance, like my wife's awesome. Like she supports me doing comedy and everything. But I always say to her, hey, there's an open mic at such and such. I'm thinking about going. Is that cool with you?
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to when you're a single guy. When I was your age, I'd turn around, I'd pat my dog on the head, I'd throw some food in his bowl and walk out the door and be back 3 hours later. No, cares in the world, but things change. Things change, and yeah, do it while you can, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ride this thing out and ride it out. See where
the
it goes.
fuck it takes you.
Yeah, man.
I hear that. Patrick Logan, you're a good guy.
Thank you, man. I try to be. I hope
dude.
so. Yeah.
You seem like I wouldn't have invited you to my house.
Yeah.
To meet you haven't met the kid yet, but he was taking a nap. But you can meet him after this. But we're not done quite with you. We're not quite done with you yet.
Okay. I'm here.
As much as you
still
enjoy
here.
Sitting here talking to me.
I'm captive in John D. Miller's basement, guys. Help.
With I got my one corner over here, and then you got the crafts. I've told people here on the podcast, I'm literally looking at a giant Snoopy.
Yes,
What?
I see it. I'm touching it.
Hey.
And Charlie Brown.
Oh yeah, I forgot Charlie was over there. Yeah. It's just,
He lured me in with Star Wars posters.
I do have Star Wars posters, and I do have others. So I have my own side of it. All right, so a couple of things. All right, so you are a Steelers fan, but you're a football fan.
Yeah, man.
All right, let's talk about Super Bowl. What you got? Now, granted, this will probably come out to maybe Monday. I'm gonna probably put it out Monday at the earliest. So whatever you say is going to be post Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
so this could make me like a Nostradamus or not.
Yeah, you could look like a
49ers.
You taking the Niners? Huh?
No. Okay, so like I love Patrick Mahomes and I love Travis Kelce. I want to see a good game. I know it'll be. I just don't want to blow out either way. I want to see a Super Bowl go down to the wire.
Last minute.
But I think I'd like to see 49ers win it. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is all over the place. He's been in the Super Bowl a lot. And why do we always like to hate a winner? No, I don't hate him at all. But it's like you want to see somebody. He's the best, so you want to see somebody beat him.
I was not hating on all honesty. I was not really hating on Mahomes himself. I don't like his wife, but that's a whole other story. I wasn't really on Mahomes until, as far as a negative factor goes, until I see him repeatedly, the offsides, stuff like that, or he throws the ball and Tony misses it. He drops the ball. I don't know. He's got his own issues, but he drops the ball. And where does Mahomes do? In the middle of 65,000 people watching, he's going, "Way!" He's putting his arms, "Hey!" It's like, fuck you, dude. Get back in the huddle. Be a leader. Play goddamn football.
Yeah, that's just like almost like second nature. Like, oh, let me try to get this flag. And sometimes the flag, sometimes it's not. What's his name? Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I'm a fan of that dude.
He big fan. He when he played the Steelers a week or two ago, he had like almost slid, didn't slide and kept running, and then he goes to slide and like a Steelers player hits him,
and then he gets the flag.
Yeah, he gets the flag, throws his arms up, and then it is funny because I'm like, oh, you can't always fake a slide and then get mad when somebody hits you. And then I actually commented that I don't usually get into our Facebook arguments, but I was like, you can't always fake a slide and then get mad when somebody hits you. And then somebody commented, oh, it's always now. He did, and it's like I caught myself being one of those like mad football people. Like he didn't always, he did it once, and now I'm like, you can't always fake a slide, You
fell into your own trap.
Yeah, man. But I think it's the thing all football players do. My grandma, my late grandmother, she used to be, I hate the Redskins because they always cheating, always trying to put the ball 3 yards ahead when they're already down, trying to like running backs when they get tackled and but then you see everybody doing it. And it's like, that's just, everybody's trying to get that extra inch, that extra flag.
Who was she a fan of?
Man, I should know this. Well,
usually they hate the Redskins or Cowboys.
Did she like the Eagles, Patriots? Giants. I think she might have liked the Patriots.
Was she a Brady fan?
I believe. I'd hate to say wrong on my grandmother, but I think so. And this was like, I mean, she She passed away a while ago, so it might have been like before he had won all of them, you know.
Right.
So,
So she was if she was a Pats fan, she was back in the day when everybody's poor cousin.
I don't know. I hope not to be getting it wrong, but if I am, smite me. But no, I think so. I'm gonna have to text my mom after this.
I won't judge you.
Yeah, but
no, it's funny how you were talking about getting into arguments on Facebook. I'm so glad I don't drink anymore. Like I haven't had a terrible Facebook argument with somebody about sports, at least in a long time. It's one of those things like I feel bad about, but at the same time, all that, none of that shit would have happened. Like if
face to face.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, no, I will not say anything online that I wouldn't say to somebody's face. I try not to.
Yeah.
Because that's just a bunch of, pussy shit. But I'm like, I would not have cared at the time nearly as much if I wasn't hammered.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. We all do shit. We all say things we regret. And if you don't think you have done something that you regret, then you
wrong.
Will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you will, or you're absolutely wrong. Because
or
everybody's done something.
Or you'll just always be wrong. Yeah, yeah. And like my life improved tremendously when I stopped arguing on Facebook. Like because when somebody's, I mean, this was like years ago though, but when you're arguing with somebody on Facebook, there's no real resolve. Neither of you are going to be like, you know what, you're right. And if you are, it's going to take a lot longer to get there than in person. And I mean, I'm just like a big fan of, some people might, not toxic positivity, but like, I don't want to see the negative shit, man. I don't want to see whether you're on this side or this side. I don't want to see it, man. So the only thing I see on my algorithm now is memes, comedy, jokes, whatever, like, or good morning, grand rising king, like I'm not seeing no negative shit. It might have affected my comedy too, because now I don't have strong opinions on things. Let me write a joke about this. I don't know what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I think you're doing fine.
It's like, I want to see good stuff. And yeah, the day I stopped arguing on Facebook, so I don't even remember the topic, but I remember like I had a date. I'm not going to argue with this. I'm going on a date.
Right.
So
you got
it's
other
like,
things to fuck
yeah,
on,
life, and whether you're right or wrong, there's a negative headspace and a positive headspace, and like to be in that always like fighting or arguing, it's just not good for anybody. Even if you are right, how you say things. I could be right all day, but if I'm screaming it at somebody and like,
what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have unfriended people that maybe said something I didn't like on Facebook, but I'm also reading it in a bad way. I've unfriended people and then seen them in public and be like, man, this guy's great, or this girl's great. Why did if you're like spewing your just your negative feelings onto Facebook, then it's like me. I just don't want to see, I just want to consume positive stuff mostly. Yeah. I think we're all guilty of like, unfriending this person said this, unfriend. Then you see them and they're cool, and it's like, and I've also said things that I look back and like, how did I say that?
Right. There are times where like I've gotten into an argument with somebody, screw that person, and then years later run into somebody and they've gone, oh, you know that person? Yeah, I can't stand that person. And I go, I can't stand that person either. Yeah. It's like you bond over it or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or what about when somebody unfriends you and you're like, why?
Yeah.
You're like,
I've never worried about it.
Everybody has the freedom of what you choose to consume in your brain.
Right.
I mean, I'm very blessed. We're all very blessed to, like, if you've got arms, legs, heat, water, a bed, what really makes my life better is just like being appreciative and just consuming stuff that makes me feel good, And I mean, I think there's a fight to be fought, but I used to get mad about a lot of stuff but I was actually being a worse person by carrying around that attitude, man. And to actually, consume stuff that makes me feel good and trying to do things that make me feel good, being grateful for what I have. I mean, that's just like, it's made my life a lot better. And we'll all go through things that really fuck us up and like might, change your attitude for a little bit. And that's also a young rebellious thing. And we do need rebellion, but it's like, I guess maybe I'm just to the age now where I'm just like, I'm not rebelling anymore. But I'm also not conforming. I'm just making it work for me. I don't know if JFK said it or somebody said it. The best way to change something is to infiltrate it. You're not going to take over the government. You're not going to fight the government. You're not going to fight the police. They will always win.
Right.
But we can infiltrate them. Everybody, you hate the government, be a politician. You know, you hate the police, be a police. Be the good in the world that you want to see. And
so changing the culture from being a part of the culture. Being a part of it. Being whatever the culture. I say culture, but being the dynamic. Like, if you're not a part of it, you're not going to be able to fight it. You have to be a part of it in order to make a change in it.
Yeah, man. The only way there's going to be a this side versus this side, if there's a civil war, if there's a apocalypse, and we don't want either of those. I don't want either of those. I used to want it. I used to be like, man, I hope all this shit burn. I hope all this shit goes to shit. Like, no, me, I love electricity. I love having food in the fridge. I love heat and AC. So it's like, you know, how can we all work together to make a better world, man? And if we can't change the whole world, let's make our world better. You know, I don't know, dude.
It's all good. That's a good. No, I think that's a good message. That's a good thing to.
But there's a lot of shitty things going on.
End it on though. Oh well, don't end it on shitty things. Come on.
I don't want to discredit like anybody that's not having a good time. But for those who are blessed, you know, appreciate it.
Right.
You know?
My wife and my son have taught me more about appreciating what I have, especially with my wife and everything would stand up by me with quitting drinking and everything else like that, and the type of person I was when I was that, and it's been really hard try to just kind of rebuild myself, which is what I've been kind of trying to do, and part of that was getting back to doing comedy and also changing some other things.
I think it's awesome, man. I think it's awesome that you know, when I heard one of your podcasts recently, 1,000 days, you know, I mean, it's hard to change your life like that, man.
It is. So. And it's, and I'm like, listen to me. I'm like, yeah, it is. God damn it. No, it is. But I tell you, I appreciate, it makes you appreciate things a lot.
Yeah, man. I mean, the biggest, I didn't even really change my lifestyle until something happened, man. Like I had health issues, my gut, I had diverticulitis, ended up getting a colon resection and an ostomy bag, you know, and like that's when I stopped doing Adderall. I stopped, you know, smoking cigarettes. Even though I'm vaping the shit now, it's for everybody that says vaping's worse. Vaping doesn't affect your gut bacteria. Still might mess my lungs up, but I had to focus on my gut. But no, I mean, I think somebody said something recently like, if you don't change, life will make you change.
And that's one of the things I try to tell people. You got to be happy.
Yeah, man. And like if it just to anybody.
Or you're no good to anybody else.
Yeah, man. Nobody's going to come serve happiness on a platter to you. And I know sometimes like depression and stuff, it's in the brain. It's a chemical imbalance. It's this and that. I mean, if I could tell anybody anything, try to find something small that makes you happy. You know, that other than drugs, sex, alcohol, you know, just like nobody's going to find it for you. You know, and everybody's happiness is different. Like comedy for me, family, taking a walk. But, you know, gotta try to find it.
I hear you. That was awesome, Patrick. You're a good dude, my friend.
Thanks, man. We're trying to be, man.
Thanks for coming on.
You too, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, dude. You're awesome. Welcome back anytime. All right. I think you're done. I think I can cut you loose.
I think we're done. I think you're done. He's like, get the hell out of my house.
Nah.
No, I was playing.
No, we're going to hang out for a few minutes after this. So.
Hey, man. Enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Thanks, Patrick. So how was that, everybody? Thanks again to Patrick for coming on the show. That was a good time. Definitely was right about the Super Bowl coming down to the wire. Well, overtime, if anything, really. I didn't want to give that away in the intro, which I recorded after the Super Bowl was over. And I didn't want to give away the fact that he was a rapper. I left that part out too in the beginning. Make sure you go see Patrick anywhere you can. Patrick Logan Comedy on Instagram. All right, I got to get going now. I know it's been a long episode, but as always, like, subscribe, download, tell your friends. Don't forget your charities. Now, because it's been such a long episode, I'm just going to go over them, okay? No Kid Hungry, Wounded Warrior Project, bestfriends.org. Check out and support these orgs if you can, or any others that may be in your local areas. And after all of that charity, if you got time for a little charity, you can help support the show through Venmo at JonDpodcom. Don't forget Twitter, John D Podcast, John D Comedy, X, whatever. I don't give a Write to me, JonDpodcom at gmail.com. Facebook, John D Podcast. Instagram and Threads, JonDpodcom. Executive producers for John D Podcast are Tom Hancock and Liz Miller. Thanks to them each for helping to make this happen in their own ways. This episode was recorded and produced by yours truly, John D. Miller, in the Amber Tree Media Studio. Don't forget blendjet.com, JonDpod12 as your code for 12% off and free shipping. Shout out to Mondo, monsterwear.com. I know we didn't get anything geeky or nerdy in this episode, but however, we always like to give them a shout out. Mondo, monsterwear.com. Shirts that feed the geeky mind. Podcast at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Yeah, so check them out. They're good people. All right, well, that was a lot of fun. Again, thank you to Patrick for coming on. That was a good time. That was a really good time. And he'll be back some point. All right, I got to get going. This has been episode 61, numero 61 of John D Podcast. I have been your host, John D. Miller. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until next time, later for you.